The Boston Celtics looked unstoppable in the second round of the NBA playoffs. They shut out the MVP and 10-time All-Star James Harden in dominant fashion. For starters, Al Horford played amazing defense on Embiid. He made sure he didn't get any clean looks. And if he wanted to score inside, he would have to bulldoze over him. Not to mention, Robert Williams acted as the second-line defense, which really deterred Embiid from even thinking about going inside. Then, of course, Jason Tatum put on one of the best Game 7 performances in NBA history, dropping 50-plus points while also being a monster on the defensive end as well. They showed everyone why they may be the very best team left in the playoffs, especially with their depth with players like Derek White, Malcolm Brogdon, Grant Williams, and Tatum's co-star Jaylen Brown, who played great two-way basketball. But even after saying all of that, what if I told you there's a team left that could potentially deliver them the upset of the season? You've seen the title of the video, it's the Miami Heat. The Heat just came off of an impressive win in the series versus Jalen Brunson's Knicks. It was a tight, scratching and clawing matchup, but I think we can all agree the better team won the series. But how exactly can the Heat defeat the mighty Celtics? Well, first we have to break down and analyze every impactful Heat player. Then we'll discuss the Heat's potential game plan versus the best scoring duo in the NBA, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Let's start with Jimmy Butler. In the Knicks series, he averaged 24 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists and 1.6 steals, while also shooting 43% from the field and 86% from the free throw line. He, as expected, played great in just about every imaginable way. And if they want to win this series, he has to put up these numbers times 2. And I must admit, it won't be easy. The Celtics have the most versatile defensive team we've probably ever seen. I'm serious, they have multiple defenders for literally any type of player. They threw 3 defenders at Joel Embiid and even helped them slow him down overall. Al Horford, Robert Williams, and Grant Williams all played a part in containing the MVP the best they possibly could. And when it comes to James Harden, one of the best ISO scorers of all time, they had Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Malcolm Brogdon, and Marcus Smart, all players that played a role in making him uncomfortable and working for every single basket. Jimmy Butler will see a multitude of different defenders who all possess different yet equally effective qualities and skills. Jason Tatum has the size, length, athleticism, and defensive IQ to really bother him. And so does Jaylen Brown, who will most likely be Butler's primary defender. What really makes the Celtics defense elite is that you can't ever find a favorable switch. All 5 defenders on the court can defend every position. So it's not like a team like the Golden State Warriors, where you can just attack Jordan Poole and Steph Curry all game. The only matchup I see Butler taking advantage of is Al Horford. And still, even he has the ability to defend good enough out in space at age 36. And if the Celtics run that 2 big man lineup with Horford and Williams, it'll be extremely difficult for Butler to get consistent paint touches. And notice I said difficult, but not impossible. Because let's not forget that he dismantled a Milwaukee Bucks team who had 3 Defensive Player of the Year caliber defenders in Brook Lopez, Giannis, and Drew Holiday. He dominated every defender they put on him. And even when they had Giannis, Brook Lopez, and even Bobby Portis in drop coverage, he would simply hit a contested shot right in their face. The definition of unstoppable. And that's what it's going to take for them to pull off this upset. One man we will never bet against is playoff Jimmy. As a playmaker, he'll really need to excel. The Celtics are known for making their star players beat them with their decision-making. It's what they did to Kevin Durant last season in round 1, and it's what they started to do towards the end of the series with Harden and Joel. What really killed Harden at the end of the series was that he was too passive. He was falling into the Celtics' trap and didn't even know it. I think Butler will have the perfect balance between being aggressive and making smart passes. This is how James Harden picked him apart in Game 4. He dropped 42 points, so he was aggressive, and he also had 9 assists. If Jimmy can average 28 to 26 points while dishing out 7 to 9 assists, it'll put the Celtics in a weird spot defensively. But then again, the Celtics, coached by Joe Mazzulla, are very good at making quick adjustments. So that's where Butler's teammates will have to step up and do their jobs. Bam Adebayo is going to have to perform at a very high level. He's going to have to be aggressive and assertive offensively. His main job should be to get Al Horford and Robert Williams in foul trouble by attacking the paint. And he's going to have to take advantage of every mismatch possible. If he has Brown, Smart, Derek White, or Malcolm Brogdon on him, he needs to turn into prime Shaquille O'Neal. Because if he doesn't be aggressive and starts to be too passive, the Celtics won't worry about him. And instead, they'll put a lot more pressure on Jimmy Butler and start double teaming him. So I cannot stress enough how important Bam Adebayo's mission is versus Boston. I'm not trying to say he needs to average 30 and 15, but he just needs to show Boston that the Heat isn't just this one-man show. Gabe Vincent is another Heat player who will need to give them everything he's got offensively. In the first 2 games versus the Knicks, he scored 20 points, and then he scored less than 10 points throughout the entirety of the series. With Tyler Hero being out with the broken hand, Gabe Vincent needs to be the Heat's X factor. He shot just 33% from 3 for the series. We all know Boston can shoot and make threes at a high level, so Vincent's ability to be a consistent threat from downtown is crucial. And with how many double teams Jimmy and Bam are gonna see, he should get tons of open looks. So if he's able to hit 4, maybe 5 threes as he did in Game 1 versus the Knicks, it'll open up things for the entire Miami offense. He's a very savvy veteran guard. You just have to trust that he'll step up when needed. Max Struss is going to be the other potential X factor. He shot solid from 3 in the Knicks series, despite going 1 for 6 in Game 7. Max shot over 40% in 4 of the 6 games, so if he can replicate that, it'll help with the spacing. And that's really the key for Miami's offense, because the last thing you want is for the Celtics to clog the paint where Butler likes to operate. And obviously, if the Heat are hitting their outside shots, the lane will be open. So Max, Gabe, Vincent, and Duncan Robinson need to be locked and loaded for Game 1. And then there's Kevin Love, who will actually be needed more than ever, believe it or not. The Celtics are the second best defensive rebounding team behind the Lakers, so if you let them grab boards and push the pace in transition, things could get ugly really fast. So here is where Love will need to scratch and claw for every rebound in his vicinity. He averaged nearly 6 rebounds in 16 minutes versus the Knicks, which is pretty good. And like I mentioned with Max, Robinson, and Vincent, Kevin will need to hit outside shots when called upon. Also look for Kyle Lowry to be really effective all around in this series. He's one of those players you love to have on your team versus another great team in a series. He's going to do all of the little things that add up to big things, like diving for loose balls, taking charges, hustling for rebounds, and running the offense and keeping the ball moving. Now that we know the Heat's offensive weapons and how they'll need to perform in order to pull off the upset, now let's flip into the court and see if we can figure out a plan to stop the dangerous duo of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. For one, the Heat really could have used Victor Oladipo. He would have given Brown a hard time for sure. But as far as a game plan, one thing I wouldn't do is double team either Brown or Tatum. The reason for that is they're the best shooting team in the playoffs by far. So the last thing you want is 3 or 4 role players making multiple open threes each. Malcolm Brogdon, Marcus Smart, and Grant Williams are excellent spot-up shooters who will make you pay for leaving them open. Each of them are capable of hitting 4 to 5 threes. And not to mention, while Horford didn't shoot great versus Philly, he's still a threat from deep. Miami is famous for their execution in 2-3 zone defense. They usually have Caleb Martin and Gabe Vincent at the top, and their weaker defenders, Duncan Robinson and Max, out on the wings, with Bam Adebayo manning the middle. But here's the thing about a 2-3 zone. It's very susceptible to outside shots. And for the reasons we just went over, you don't ever want Boston to get good looks. And it really doesn't help that Caleb Martin, Gabe Vincent, and Kyle Lowry are all under 6'5". So if Tatum and Brown get it going from the outside, they can just rise up and shoot over the top. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Jimmy Butler being primarily at the top of the zone to defend Tatum or Brown most of the night. Miami does, however, have something that the 76ers nor the Hawks had, and that is elite hustle and defensive IQ. The Heat lead all teams in points off of turnovers while also being first in deflections and first in defensive loose balls recovered. So in order for the Heat to be effective defensively, they have to be nearly perfect as a unit. It definitely helps that they have 2 elite defenders in Bam and Butler, and Max and Gabe Vincent are better defenders than given credit for. They contest every shot and are rarely late on rotations or have defensive lapses. And they're actually both top 5 in charges drawn per game in the playoffs. And even better, Vincent is 3rd in deflections right now. Then you have Lowry and Martin, who compete hard defensively. All in all, this series has the chance to be historic. Both teams are well coached, both teams have great defense, and both teams have at least one player who can get you 50 points in playoff games. The Heat are for sure the underdogs, but they are extremely tough and rugged, and they've overcome a lot to even get here. So do not expect them to just lie down. But what do you think? Can the Miami Heat pull off the upset versus Jason Tatum and company? Let us know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.